Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Inside the OC. My name is Matt Cannizzaro, part of the OC PR team on site, hopefully headed to Reno very soon, joined by my co-worker. Last week he was the sidekick, now he's the co-worker, Daniel Farish. Daniel, welcome.
Thank you very much, Matt.
All right, well, we've got an exciting show today. We're going to touch base with Dan Higgins. He's in Ohio right now, two-time Eagle winner and a defending champion in the team event. No doubt antsy to get back out there and put that title on the line. Dan, how are you today?
Pretty good, sir. How are you?
Doing well. I think we have one issue today, and I know Aaron faced this one in the PWBA podcast when they had Aaron McCarthy on. So they went ahead and they called him Aaron for the entire show. Now we've got two Daniels on today. Hopefully we can get around that situation. Maybe we'll go with Aaron's nickname for Farish, and we'll call him the Danimal the entire show. But we'll see how things get going here. First things first, Mr. Higgins, tell us, what are you up to? I know you're in the IT world, and things are a little hectic, of course, and here in 2020, but you're working from home and doing some cool and helpful things.
Yes, we are now currently working from home. I work for the OSU Medical Center in the IT department, and we're forever busy with the changes in, changes in healthcare and everything. And now with the COVID-19 in full effect, obviously we learned about this about a month and a half ago. We'd already started working on like behind the scenes stuff. Well, when it hit, and the government, our government here, governor was asking us to start working. I think OSU currently had like 900 plus employees working from home, and now we've got like 3,500, 4,000 employees working from home. They said we, as being IT essential employees, we could come in if we wanted to. It was pretty much a scarce place when I went in there, so I was going in a couple days a week, and then I just decided to bring my dual monitors home. That's what I'm looking at now. I've got like work going on over here and everything going on, but everything home, work from home. It has its benefits working from home, but man, you miss that outside interaction with people and stuff like that. But we do a lot of what we've gotten now. We do a lot of behind the scenes build in IT in our department. We do what they call resolute billing, cadence, and ADT, which is all ADT and cadence is like front end stuff. So we have a group of 20 on the front end that is setting up departments, charge unit labs, charge units this, and then we just went over an email about a half hour ago, a video over how they're setting up our one of our areas in Columbus to hold over 400 or 500 beds for the surge that they're expecting, and that'll go through our local Columbus hospitals like Ohio Health, OSU ourselves, and Mount Carmel's hospitals will all combine into like this. And they have their own little section. So we were checking that out today. Like I said, the departments have been flying in where they've been adding new departments, new charge places. And then my job on the back end is making sure all these items and everything coexist and gets built and gets moved up so that everything works fine after it goes from the front end to the back end. And then as the government, how the government's going to control these, where it's COVID-19 related, how we're going to be stopping claims to be reviewed by our coding specialists before they go to the government to be looked at. What they're trying to do is defer a lot of the COVID charges from the patients so the government can look at it first before the insurance actually gets billed for the patients. So it's a lot of behind the scenes work that people don't know. That was the biggest question I always get, like, what do you do? Well, we do a lot of application testing and stuff like that we use the application, we test it, we have multiple test systems that we use and build these enhancements in and workflows and processes to make sure everything flows out correctly. And if it doesn't, we test them again. So this way, when we move things into production and prod, that it looks seamlessly. Like if you come in as a patient, you would never know what's going on. So it's a lot of work. It's definitely busy work, and it can be long hours some days. I'm an exempt employee, so I work more than 40 hours a week. I work on the weekends. And with that being said, even though I'm not a physician or a doctor, but because we are IT and we're exempt employees, with the surge that comes in, any of us can be called to come in to help assist with whatever is needed on the front line or whatever is needed within those surge units. that they have. So not sure what's going to hold here in the next couple of weeks, but I hope that, those numbers that they're projecting are wrong. I'd hate, we all hate to see all that to take place. So, but only time will tell. By looking at what I've seen on the news, our line is flatlined pretty good. Stay at home, stay safe. We're projected. We're down below our projection, but that just means maybe we started ahead like we needed to. I don't know. I mean, that's obviously all those numbers are kind of like they're trying to say now. They feel like we're in a good place, so hopefully our surge numbers will be low well when this hits in the next couple of weeks.
Well, we certainly appreciate all you guys are doing to help everybody get things situated and be safe. And it's again, it's a crazy time, but glad you're safe at home. And before we get into some of the numbers with Farish, and he's definitely our stats and numbers guy. But you're at home. You said you've been doing some home projects, and with as talented as you are as a player on the lanes, and with a couple Eagles already. First, you're not alone at home, and you may or may not be, and we can maybe do a vote at some point, the best bowler in your house right now. Talk about the home situation, what you've been up to, and who you get to share that great space with.
Yeah, may lose that vote. All right, my daughter Katie, she is a senior this year. She's set to graduate. Now that's all up in there as well. If school even resumes or not resumes, I told her not to be disappointed because I feel even though if they don't have a graduation set when they're supposed to graduate, that she will graduate. But then when school resides, I'm sure that down the road they'll have something for the seniors to remember to celebrate and stuff. I told her not to worry too much about it. My wife, obviously, everyone knows she is the best bowler in the household, Jennifer. She works at Lifetime. Well, all the gyms were closed up, so she's now at home as well. She works out a couple times a day. Down in our basement, we have a few things set up, free weights and a exercise machine and a elliptical and all kinds of little things down in the basement that we can use, that we usually generally use. She uses it way more than I do, but I usually maintain certain liabilities that I like doing, like squats and light workouts, just to keep my legs in shape and sturdy for when I'm bowling. Because I always feel like bowling or any other sport, everything comes from your legs. And being 5 foot, nothing me, I use my but yeah, been kind of weird to be at home and everybody at home all day. It is definitely weird to not you're done, you're clock out for the day and you're like, okay, what are we going to do? Well, you have family time, we might have dinner together, watch a movie together. The good days outside, I've been actually trying to get outside. I had a windstorm in January, knocked out a few panels of my fence, broke a few fence posts. I've moved in this house about 6 years ago. The fence was pretty old and worn out, so I knew it probably needed to be replaced. Well, Mother Nature pushed that along on me in January. Funny, I got up one Sunday morning to let Ernie out, who's whining behind me right now for attention. He's just going to whine. I got up one morning to let him out and got ready for a tournament, and I looked out back and saw the fence was half laying down on the right side of the yard. And I'm like, I'm not bowling today, because I had to pick it up, get that stuff at least taken off the fence and get it put to the side to get to get it out, to get delivered that old stuff out of here. But I had to get the fence to the spot to where I could let the dog out, so that the dog next door couldn't come over in our yards. Ernie couldn't get over, just to make it pet friendly. But with that being said, I finally got the fence finished last weekend. Now it's just regular landscaping stuff, so I don't have to worry about the fence itself anymore. Now it's just routine maintenance of just making the yard look more eye appealing. So yeah, that's kept me busy for the most part. So I've been like, okay, well, it's been good to be off, because I've been able to get things done that I probably would have put off even longer weekends out, depending on what we were bowling. Like I was scheduled to bowl the Masters. That was canceled, so I used that whole week outside. Got that fence done in plenty of time, so I can do more routine stuff and time it out. This way I don't have to be out in the rain, the cold, and doing it whatever time I have. I've been able to space that time out to get it done. But because it usually goes like, are you going to go outside tonight? I don't know. It depends what the weather's like. But now that I don't really have to go out, our anniversary was just this past week, so we had Texas Roadhouse to go. I went and picked that up, so we had our little dinner at home. We had dinner and a movie at home. So that was kind of nice the other night. My daughter still works at a restaurant, but she is a hostess. And so, but she takes all the to-go orders. So she works a couple of days a week still for the to-go orders, and she'll bring food home for us too. We'll have dinner those nights. So it's the normality. It's all like the routine is almost the same, except for I'm just home more right now, getting stuff done. And it does feel weird not to have to leave the house to go anywhere or do anything or be ready mentally to go bowl something. It does feel weird. I do miss the competition and all my friends out there.
I'm glad to hear that you guys are getting some family time, at least, especially as your daughter's getting ready for the next steps in her life as well. So it's good news there that there's some upsides certainly to what's going on. But let's get to the bowling part a little bit here too. For the folks who don't know as much about Dan Higgins, he is the team captain of Higgy's Aquarium, one of the most dominant teams of the last 7 or 8 years, potentially, as Daniel Farish pointed out earlier, on the verge of becoming one of the greatest teams of all time in just such a short time as well. But Dan is, as he mentioned, the little guy on the team, and as he told us in an article recently, the older guy on the team. So he's got to do some extra things to pull his weight a little bit and do some of the hard work. There's way more involved than just going out there and throwing strikes. And of course, having Jen Higgins at home, a former Team USA member, made a couple shows at the USBC Queen. So the bowling there, the working out is there. It's all things that come together. But Dan, talk about Higgy's Aquarium, the background, how the team came together back in 2013, and up to that point, your career numbers, they were at a bit of a stall almost, and in 2013, maybe one pattern wasn't enough of a challenge. That you guys, when the 2 patterns came out in 2013, you guys have been absolutely dominant. You especially, even in singles and all events, and just give us some background.
Well, it's kind of weird. Like when I started bowling nationals over 20 years ago, I went out with one of the local coach guys that ran our junior bowling association. I went out with him because he asked me to bowl. I didn't really know back then what ABC was or what it all meant. I just know that these guys looked at going forward to Reno. It was like when Reno was freshly new on the scenes, and like everyone was like excited to go to Reno. And then I went to Knoxville. I think that first time was one of my first trips to Huntsville, Alabama. I think was one of the stops. Yeah, it went there, and those first 3 years I bowled wasn't very good. Like, didn't really understand lane conditions at that point in my life. My career, I didn't understand lane conditions. I was obviously a good league bowler at home. I dabbled in a few regionals and did okay. When I realized I didn't understand lane play or understand lane conditions out at the Nationals, I came back home, joined at that point to be a regional member, learned a little bit more about lane patterns, picked a lot of brains, got a little better. Still bowl with local friends that I grew up in the junior leagues with, and it seemed like I would bowl okay on certain times. And then back then is when the Nationals, it was kind of your luck of the draw. You bowl singles and doubles after certain teams, or you bowl your doubles singles after another doubles pair. So you never knew how the pair was really going to be. Like sometimes you would hit a great pair. Like I've seen sometimes where teams have bowled really good, and some singles and doubles bowlers got to follow that pair and they bowl good, but yet I'm down here and I'm like, I'm struggling to carry. Like I don't know how I'm doing it. And obviously lane play makes a big part of that, and that's in anything. I don't care if the shot's easy or hard. However you play that lane at the beginning and how it ends defines how playable that lane is at that point in time. And so bowling with these guys, was always fun. And then as I got older, and I met my wife being the better bowler, we can say that in the household, she came with me with a few national stops, bowled with a few other great bowlers too, started assembling different bowlers. And I still took my other teams out at that point, because I would take anywhere between 4 to 8 teams every year, and which is a lot of work for the people.
We appreciate that as well. It's hard work, and we recognize that.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to that. And as it kept going, I was like, well, I think I'm going to break my teams up here. I told my guys, I love bowling with my friends. You guys are my friends from bowling in junior leagues and growing up and the adult leagues. I said, but I've met other bowlers that bowl like I do. They want to go out and bowl tournaments. They bowl regularly tournaments. They bowl every weekend. These guys I was bowling with only bowled league and never bowled anything else, really. They would just bowl your normal league one night a week or maybe 2 nights a week, and they would bowl your city tournament with you and maybe bowl the state tournament with you. So it was always like city and state and national was more like a vacation for them. And yeah, they wanted to bowl good, but if they didn't really care. But I'm at the point, like, I'm hungry. Like, I want to be better at everything that I'm in. I want to be better, and I want to learn, and I want to learn to give. I want to try to be with some of the best bowlers and bowl with the best bowlers and compete against the best. I've always felt that way. And I feel like being at that level, you have to bowl with them. And I was fortunate enough growing up that the team that I was having to assemble, they're all younger than me, except for now that we acquired Chuck Tompkins. He's a few years older. I am not the oldest on the team, which is kind of nice, but he is now. But Chuck also being in the same kind of the boat I am, he always grew up bowling more with friends, but then he's bowled competitively as well with some other great bowlers. And so he was a great key factor to our addition for the hole that was created that we needed to replace, and he helped us this past year, our Eagle win. But my team came together. I would take the guys I was bowling with, and I asked Chad Roberts, I said, hey, would you want to team up? He kind of broke away from a team that he was bowling with, and he bowled locally in our city, and we got along. We were always at the same amateur tournaments, and we became good friends like that way because we're always at the same tournaments. We're hanging out, having lunch, having dinner, doing this, bowling this. And we'd always like throw thoughts out to each other about lane play and all this. So picked up Chad, picked up Josh, some of my other 2 teams, and I had 2 other bowlers on my team, and they wanted to part ways to go another way. So I just asked Chad and Josh, I said, who else could we look at? And Joe Bailey came to mind, and Tony Carson's come to mind. So we formed that team, and that team became pretty strong as we did well through the years. And then with the hole that when Tony had to leave, we filled that hole. We filled it with Chuck. But it all came to play just from like Josh and Joe and Chad and myself. We all bowled the same tournaments around Ohio, all the same amateur tournaments, whether it be Ohio, the Michigan, anywhere in the border, we all bowled. And at some point, we all bowled nationals. Like Josh was bowling nationals with his dad and family, so it was kind of the same way. Chad was actually bowling with younger kids his age. But Chad had the faith in my game that he thought I was talented enough and what do I say? Not just talented, but more like he knew that I was hungry enough to win and work things as a team, that he was ready to join. And we picked up Josh and Joe. And our first really year together was for that team, that core was in El Paso. And we did okay. We learned a lot about each other that year. I think that was the first year we were on live stream as Higgy's crew. We learned out about each other's game even more that year because we bowled all 9 games together, and we were all on the same pair for like 9 games. Whereas like when you bowl tournaments with somebody, you may cross with them. Like I might cross with Chad one tournament, I might cross with Joe. We're all there, but we're all floating around different lanes on the lane movements and stuff. So you're really not picking or talking the whole time. So I think that year when we bowled together, we learned a lot about how to approach each other, what to say to each other, how each other would take it. And then we just grew from there. We were all pretty unselfish. We took stride in criticism. We still do. I think in Syracuse, I kind of got a little, like, not a temper that you've seen outside, but the temper that they knew, that I was frustrated. I don't know how many people, watched the Snickers commercial, but Betty White, you need a Snickers. Well, Joe Bailey comes, yo, Betty White, he goes, you need to get a Snickers. So, I took that with stride. And those guys put a different ball in my hand because I ended up moving a little deeper than both of those guys, Joe and Chad. And I'm the last one that should be deeper than anybody on our team in reality. I have the less rev rate on our team, but I felt like I had to get a bit more at this point. And I didn't. But I wasn't caring, but they could see the frustration on my face, and that's when Joe came to me, said all that, and then Chad put a different ball in my hand, And I said, after about 2 or 3 shots, I said, that's probably not the right ball. He goes, no. He goes, I know it wasn't the right ball. I just wanted you to see something different. He goes, that way you could figure out then, what ball you need to go to. And that's how we work together. None of us are afraid to do anything. We listen to each other. Like if we wanted, I could go up there and pull that ball off the rack that Chad's throwing. Like, where my ball go? Like, I don't know, man. Throw something else. That's just how we get along. We just know that, okay, I get what you're saying.
Well, it's been a ton of fun to watch from day one. I mean, you guys have been just a phenomenal chemistry, humble as anything. A pleasure to see you guys come through every year and talk to you. And, I feel like I've grown up with Higgy's crew, and just to see the numbers and the close calls along the way. And now this is where Farish is going to shine as far as analyzing those numbers. And there's probably been some heartbreak along the way, but you wouldn't know it. You guys are just, as you said, so hungry and so humble. And Farish, let's get into some of those numbers and ask the real questions.
Well, it's interesting, Dan, that you said that El Paso was when you guys really learned a lot about each other, because that was the last year that we didn't see you all not on the leaderboard, if that makes sense. The first 3 years that you all had the team together, you had 3 top 50 finishes in team event, nothing higher than 19th. That was El Paso. 2 top 10s in team all events, but you weren't really close to getting towards the top of the leaderboard. And then it was the year after El Paso when everything came together, finished second in team event, and then you turned in that performance from team into day 2, and you came out on top of team all events. So talk about what you all learned from El Paso in 15, how you used that moving forward to 2016 to get that first eagle after bowling so well day 1 in team event, coming up a little short, and then putting up a number in singles and doubles that eventually led to that eagle.
Okay, so like 2015, we had bowled, like me, Tony, and Chad had already bowled, like I think the 3 to 4 years previous together, and we knew each other's game kind of well. Like me and Chad have bowled together in a lot of stuff. If I'm not bowling doubles with my wife, I'm normally bowling doubles with Chad. Mm-hmm. And so like me and Chad know each other's game and flaws and like just right away. And we learned with Tony right away. Within the 3 years, Tony was one. So we kind of knew, well, when we lost our other 2 bowlers and we went into El Paso, and then the Higgins crew whole thing on live stream, and Chad's like, we're going to change our name for next year too, by the way. And that's when Higgins Aquarium came about. But we had we were all in El Paso. We all went. What we didn't strategize too well was equipment that we were going to take that year. We kind of all said what we were going to take, but we didn't really define it to how we do it now. So we learned that year that we didn't communicate well enough on equipment we all should have had. I probably had 2 gaps that I needed to fill. A couple other bowlers probably had 2 gaps. And at that point, for me, it was lucky enough that like at that point Joe was on Storm and I'm on Storm. So my hand span is close to Josh's and Joe's, and they were both on Storm, so I could throw either of their balls. So I used actually one of Joe's bowling balls to finish out singles with that year at El Paso because I didn't have a look. And whatever ball I can't remember I threw, that helped me at least shoot 6 something, whatever I had. Like I just didn't have it. I don't know why I didn't take what I didn't have. You would think, as much as I bowled, but I didn't. So we learned a lot that year. And then we learned each other's flaws. We learned each other's games a little bit more that year. So leading into the next year, we felt pretty confident that we would bowl well. We saw the scores were lower, and for the most part, the Joe, Josh, and Chad, we usually bowl pretty good when the scores are lower. Mm-hmm. So higher, I definitely tailor off when the scores get higher. I usually kind of I stay competitive, but I kind of just I don't really do anything with it. Like I don't know how to maximize when the scores are a little softer. When the scores are a little harder, I tend to stay out of trouble. Just from experience of lane play for so long, and I use that to my benefit. But we knew the scores were lower. We discussed other things. We put out a couple years patterns previous, some harder. When we picked out the patterns that were available from years previous that were low scoring, we used those at home. We practiced on them. All four or five of us practiced at that point. Because we're fortunate enough that 3 of us the three of us lived in the city at that time, and Tony and Joe just lived an hour and a half outside the city.
Hey, you
So
guys
they
aren't far apart from one another.
No, no.
Yeah.
And no, because we all live in Columbus, basically, the three of us, me and Josh, and Joe and Tony had lived in Worcester at that time, which is only like an hour and a half up the road. And now Chuck lives in Columbus, so that makes it even easier now. Now we have Joe coming down when we do our practice stuff and chemistry stuff. But we all practice on different little patterns. That was out previously, given out in the years. And we practiced together. We said, okay, you probably, if I'm throwing this ball, you probably need this. This kind of probably work better for you on this. And then as we bowled leading up after the El Paso, we're bowling like tournaments that are on hard shots up in Michigan and wherever we're bowling. We saw what bowling balls would we brought, what normal balls we would bring to tournaments. So what the 3 or 4 we would normally end up going to that you would just call your not platform ball, but
benchmark ball.
Thank you. Your benchmark
There you
ball.
go.
Yeah, you have your 3 or 4 there, and you kind of just start seeing it. And we're like, okay, well, we know they like this. We know they like that layout. We know they like that type of roll. And then we just kind of, we would talk. We'd like tournaments over. We go to sports bar, watch baseball, football, whatever's on. Talk about, okay, hey, well, that worked good for you, so maybe we should think about something like this for when we go to national. So it all starts all year long, any tournament you do. So by the time we all got together after El Paso and did all that bowling and got ready, we felt a lot more confident going in that year. And then when we fell short by 50 pins of the team event that year, we were like, wow, we've done that. We could have probably easily won that, and we let it get away a couple frames late in the game. I think late in game 3 that year, we still made a somewhat of a push, but we basically ran out of frames. So that was kind of fun. That was our learning experience. And then we went to dinner that night and said, well, we still have work to do. We felt like we had enough. What we came to do, we had enough to do what we needed to do to try to put something on the board. And the next day we walk in and me and Chad come a mark short from winning doubles. One of us, if he carries a shot in the 9th, or if I carry the first one in the 10th, or he carries the first one in the 10th, we're doubles champions. We didn't let that stop us. We kept going. At this point, we didn't know by already beginning of the 3rd game in singles, our 6th game there, bowling side events. We didn't know we already took the lead in team all events. We were there just to keep doing our job on what we were trying to do to break the lanes down. And Matt's like, you guys already beat it. So that was kind of funny. I was like, oh, nice.
So you picked up that first eagle. Now, I want to preface this next kind of conversation to let the viewers know, in the last 4 years, you guys have had 4 team events and 4 team all events. So 8 total finishes between those 2 disciplines the last 4 years. And only once in those 8 finishes have you been outside the top 4. And that was team event following that eagle win in 2016. You come back to the OC in 2017, and you guys, you received the awards. You're the defending champions for team all events. And then you just come out in team event in 17, and you ended up being 26th. Were there a little bit of nerves or the feeling of we have to produce numbers because we are the defending team all events champions?
There was maybe a little bit of nerves, but it wasn't much the nerves as we were unprepared. First time eagle winners, our stuff was figured out to our lanes behind the scenes as we were getting our awards in the paddock. And we came out, and the thing I suggested was, can we get an extra 5 minutes? If the next time we ever get presented, can we get at least an extra 5 minutes after a national anthem before the lanes come on? Because we got out there, they did the presentation, and right after the presentation, they started the national anthem. Well, we're not going to be disrespectful. We all stood up and we waited. Then the lanes come on. Our stuff wasn't even on the rack yet. It was on our bags, and we're trying to find our bags with our balls, and our bags weren't actually where they needed to be. So we were scuffling around. So we're in that rush pace, and then we're practicing. And then our nerves actually everything didn't settle down to like the 5th frame of that game, but we weren't bowling very good. And we ended up bowling okay after the 5th frame of that first game and on. And we were like, man, we kind of let that get away. So we wish we would have had like another 5 minutes just to get settled after all the excitement of, hey, you guys just won and being recognized and all that. So we were glad that we were recognized, but too, we were like, man, we could have used just 5 minutes just to get prepared. That extra 5 minutes is big. I think as a bowler, you probably know that, right, Daniel?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that 5 minutes is, you know, just to get your mind to get back and say, okay, let me get back into where I need to be to get focused. Instead of like, oh no, where's my ball? Where's this ball? Where's that ball? Where's this? And we're just way behind. And we just weren't prepared. We weren't prepared for that. This year we were going to be prepared for that. We were already talking about that this year. We're going to be recognized. This is what we're going to do.
So you put up
for that now
3190
already.
You put up 3190 in team event. You end up 26th. You don't know where you're going to finish the time you put the number up because the tournament's not over.
Right.
But you go into day 2 after bowling. You could say bowling so bad in team event after all that went on, and then you guys absolutely caught fire. Ended up second in team all events, only 27 pins behind the eventual winners.
Yeah, we thought we were going to come back and get that.
What went right in day 2? And what was it like as the momentum was building throughout day 2 in those 6 games, and you're chasing down a number, trying to set that number?
Well, it didn't really hit us until game 2 in singles, because game 1 in doubles, Chad started off bumpy. I wasn't bowling real great. I think Josh and Joe were bowling really good. And Tony was doing so. And after doubles got done, we said, well, we're not in bad shape. We just all have to shoot 700.
No problem.
That's what you're right. Right? It sounds like it's a piece of cake, but it's not. You know, that I put up a 780 or 790. I don't.
Knew that was going to happen.
I don't remember. I put up a nice singles number that year that almost cracked the top 3. And we did. We finished short. I can't remember if we needed a couple more hits in the 10th frame or not. I think we did. I knew we were close, and we were just like, man, if we could have just, after all said and done, we're like, man, we could have just had those first 5 frames back in team. You know,
yeah,
prepared,
I think you can. Yeah, I think you guys can say that.
Yeah, not that winning, it would have helped us win team, but it would have helped us in all events.
Yeah, you all didn't lose team all events that year in singles and doubles. It was team event.
Right.
So the next year,
we were proud. We were disappointed because we wanted to win back to back, but we were still proud. We knew we worked really hard to get the second place that year from what we had. So it was like we won. We won an achievement, but we didn't win. But we were like, well, boys, it's another second place. So, you know, we'll just keep building. That just made us hungrier to come back and try to win again.
So we get to Syracuse the next year. You talk about second places, 2 more second places in team event and team all events. You know, talk about Syracuse. I know a lot of guys I talked to, I didn't get a chance to bowl Syracuse. They talked about the lanes played tough at the On-Center Convention Center up there in New York. And you guys were able to, again, crack the top, towards the top of the leaderboard. But what didn't go 100% right in Syracuse that led to you all being runner-up in both team and team all events?
Syracuse went pretty good for the most part. We normally have our team dinner. We usually do a team outing, and we have fun and whatever, get loose and get ready. Couple of us probably had a little too much fun. Bowler missed our team practice, so that put us in worry mode. I asked the individual to go bowl some games for the team, and it didn't happen. And game 1 didn't go very well. I struggled game 1, and I think I threw the back 6 or 7 2-0, I think, that year. Lanes did hook, which is weird to see that the last 2 years the pattern was close to the same, but I really did feel like Syracuse hooked that just hooked the team event. I felt as team chemistry, we were all not team chemistry that year as we needed to be. But that being said, we still had a chance to win team event that year, and just happens that the 10th frame didn't go our way, which was fine. But then to come up short second again, and then some conversations afterwards, that's when we decided to do a few different things for the coming year, because we were like, we keep battling. We feel like we're there. We honestly feel like we have a chance to win team every year. And I feel like we can win team all events every year because we bowl we bowl well together. We break the lanes down nice. We don't break it down for one person to bowl well. It just happens to be whoever does bowl well. will bowl well, and that's what we want. We know somebody's going to whack them. We don't know which one of us. We just know somebody's going to. We hope it's all of us, but for a fact that's not everyone's going to whack them. Someone's going to whack them. A couple guys are going to bowl good. Someone may struggle, and the other guy will just be consistent. It's just the nature. So the key is just to make them playable enough to give everyone a chance to score, including our companion team in the team event. I feel like really they get caught behind the moves because they're afraid, almost afraid to talk to us. I said, don't be afraid to talk to us. I said, I can't coach 10. I said, I'm going to help our 5. But we kind of give them a guideline who they should be comparing to on our team. And I really feel like both of our teams can crack the top 5 every year, the way we play the lanes. It comes down to like not being selfish and doing the right thing and everything. Like I told people, I was like, I only score as good as because my team is unselfish. I said, you'll probably say the same thing. I said, for one, if this is a singles tournament, I said, Joe Bailey and Chad Roberts are playing 4th arrow from the get. You know what I mean? From the get on these patterns. Yes. If it was a singles tournament, they're going to play 4th arrows from the get, and then your angles are going to be and bad.
Right.
And they sacrifice a lot. I sacrifice some, but they sacrifice a lot to stay in the zones that we need to be in to prepare for both days of lane play. And that is a big benefactor that, everyone is unselfish, everyone communicates, and we all take the criticism. But with that being said, yeah, we were ready for Syracuse to the point that we just missed a little bit of team chemistry, and we felt like that year we should have probably won both of those that year. It just didn't happen. So we were hungry to come back this year to win team event, and we were pretty prepared this past year to win. Ball reaction was kind of scarce for a few of our bowlers this year. They were hard. I thought this year as well. And I was decent. I was lucky enough to have a decent look all the way around, except for one game. I scored bad. Missed a couple spares of my own, but really scored bad that game with a couple taps and a couple pocket splits. But when I shot that bad game, I almost saw the faces like, oh, there might goes our team all of this chance, because we ended up missing by 200 pins. Well, I shoot a 130, so if that's a 230, that's 100 less pins we have to try to make up. And I feel like the team then is more energized and still in it. And I don't want to feel like I let the team down, because it's going to happen. It's just that the shot was harder, and our ball selections were a little bit more scarce this year for the doubles and singles pattern. And so we're hungry again, and that was what we were kind of looking forward to getting back to Reno this year, was because this is where we won our first Eagle and team all events. So we're ready to defend our title this year. And now building, it's kind of ironic that we can go back to this building and Vegas back-to-back years to defend kind of titles, because that's where we won them both.
Well, and in team event last year, I want to stick with that for just a second. You guys came out of the gate slow, shot 1033, but backed it up with 1159 and an awesome to watch 1170. You had 755 yourself. I believe that's also with 2 missed single pins. First frame of game of game 2 and third frame of game 3. But what was most impressive to me was the fact that out of 150 total frames for you 5 guys, you filled 139. So not only were you able to strike a ton, but you stayed clean. You stayed away from splits for the most part. I mean, at least, as I said, 2 of those opens were makeables. Is that something you guys talk about, filling frames and staying clean, or is it just a thought that as a competitive bowler, that's something you have to do? I mean, 139 out of 150 on that demanding pattern is unthinkable. We
don't really think about staying clean or that. I guess we just think about doing what we're supposed to be doing, lane play. We didn't look, as a team, we didn't look very crisp game 1. A lot of our bowlers were just off timing wise. I could see it, and then I would tell those individuals, hey, I'm seeing this. I don't know what you're feeling. I'm seeing this. So maybe kind of think about this or think about that. I was just fortunate enough to be striking, I think, the hold us in game 1, which was nice because 10:30 was a big score. Then when we had it going, by the time they got their timing down, it was like good. I was good to go. It was kind of like unique that happened this year in team event, because what was weird is so my state team is 3/5 of my national team, and so is my city team, me, Chad, and Josh. So we've won city twice. We won state twice in the back-to-back years. We won state. We won city, I think, three out of the last 5 years. And it's not a coincidence. You know, it's the 3/5 of our national team. I mean, that's pretty strong. But like in our state event last year, shot was pretty hard, and I was bowling pretty good and had like 250 game one, and Chad and Josh shot 190. And I said, hey, this is what I'm seeing out of you guys. This is what I'm seeing. And I ended up shooting 800 or something. But Josh goes 270, 300, and Chad goes 260, 240 his last two games, and we win state. So that's how well we work together. Like whoever sees what will tell the other. And it's just weird. And like they as soon as they saw it and they felt it and they can see it, they're able to react on it and then repeat the shots and repeat. It's kind of what happened that year as well in Syracuse. Like when we came back, it worked. You know, everyone just believes everyone.
So you added Chucky Tompkins to the team last year. How did his addition help? What did he bring to that group?
Experience. All of his experience from bowling. He's bowled numerous amateur stuff. He's bowled professional stuff. He's bowled against some of the best bowlers in the world as well. He's also friends with us. He runs a league here in Gahanna, Ohio, which is just outside Columbus. We all bowl his league. So just more chemistry and experience. I'm trying to say this in the right way. When that game last year in the third game in 10th frame, Chuck got up. I think Chuck only shot 2-0 the last game, but Chuck was on a strike in the 9th, and he put the ball in the 1-3 and struck on the first ball in the 10th. And Josh just said, that's the difference. So if any, you can go back and look at our 10th frame from the year previous when we fell short, and you can look at that 10th frame, and that's the difference. It's just it's hard to explain the it factor in bowlers and in teams, but there is an it factor in every sport level. And when you have that it factor, it's like I tell these guys every year, I was like, why am I the anchor? They go, well, because you could just strike out when you need to. I'm like, no. Well, you do. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I was like, I'm getting too old. But they like me being the anchor because they feel like that when we need, like I shot 207, I think, a couple years ago at Syracuse. They're like, see, you just throw a 7-bagger when you need it. I'm like, okay, I wish I could every time I needed it. I said, maybe at the moment I did okay. Or Chad's like, he goes, I was mad because I missed that spare. What you're talking about, he goes, if you don't miss that spare, I bet you don't throw the last 11.
You're probably right.
That was his positive. He goes, you focused more right after that. And you focused up more and you made better shots. And he's right. I did focus after that because I was like, well, that made me mad. So I did. I put a little bit more focus. I didn't want to lose that momentum. You know what I mean? So that it's just little things like that. As a team, you're not criticizing anybody. You know what I mean? If it's it's a corrective criticism that we take. Okay, yes, you're right. Yes, I'm going to do that. Yes, I'm going to try that. You can't teach that. There's so many teams of good bowlers out there. Like I've watched a number of good bowlers on good teams out there, and they don't do how we do it. And we watch them, and they say what they're doing, almost like I don't know why they're doing that. Not that they're wrong. I just don't feel like that's the right. We don't feel like that's the right way. The way we've seen how it's had to been done out there. How we've watched Regal's team do well. We've seen Barta's team do well, and now we're fortunate enough that we're one of the teams out there that everybody likes watching. That was kind of cool to see last year in Vegas. I'm not going to lie. It was one of the biggest that I could notice. I don't know if it's just because of the seating or why not, but like I just noticed how many people sat behind us last year in Vegas and watched us bowl. And my wife, who doesn't watch me bowl a whole lot because she bowls herself, she goes, that was fun to watch. And I was like, oh, cool. You
guys you're at that level now. You have arrived. Higgy's Aquarium is there. Get used to it. Half the time it's going to be the employees at first because, again, you guys just going through the whole process. A pleasure to work with and deal with. And, you've kind of downplayed your value, your role a little bit as far as the importance of, what you do as the captain. And then, of course, in the 10th frame, those guys aren't wrong. And then I think that those crowds are going to continue to grow, especially after what we've seen and what we've talked about over these last few minutes.
It's definitely been fun, and we still look forward to it. We're even more hungrier for the ones that got away. And then like we were excited about coming back to Reno because that's where we won. We want to defend there. So we're hoping that even if dates get pushed back, that we still have it this year. If not, we'll look forward to Vegas. You know, we won in Vegas, and we look forward to there too as well.
What is that?
Go ahead, Matt.
What's your preparation?
What's our preparation right now?
What's it been like so far? And you guys were getting close. We're getting closer to opening day. And as you said, it's a year-long thing. But I've seen you guys on social media, the practice sessions, the late-night sessions, just all the things that you need to do. Where were you in that process already?
We'd already started talking different equipments for like Chuck to keep Chuck maybe a little bit more matched up for this coming year. Josh didn't re-sign with a brand, so we're working with him to get stuff that he still likes, if it has to be one brand or mixed in or whatever. So we're there. A couple weeks off this is kind of putting us behind, so we're kind of like, what are we going to do for like we may be opening week for this thing. We don't know yet. You know, so that's kind of different. So everyone always asks me too, why do you guys go so late? Well, the original thing was I always went when I first started bowling, I bowled the end of March. I bowled with guys just from the local coaches guys thing. And then when I was taking 6 teams, everyone hated missing league, so I would go mid-May because everyone would be done with league, get their league fee money back, and they like to enjoy their little vacation. So I would do that for them, and I would let them do that. Well, now 2 to 4 of my teams still bowl that weekend in May. They keep going. I just don't go with that group anymore because now with the Queens being that weekend, I've decided to move mine back to June when we moved it back so that I could go to the Queens with my wife for that tournament. So that was the main reason why I moved to June. I just moved our 2 teams because it was easier to move 2 than move 6 because all the other teams love bowling in May right after league because they were still in that league mode. They're like, hey, we can go bowl and stuff, and they have fun. They enjoy it. Whereas I took the 2 competitive teams who bowl almost all year round, and we're good to go because we're still bowling, practicing, and doing what we need to do. But this being on kind of like a lockdown, it's been kind of hard to sneak out and throw some games. I actually haven't thrown any games for almost a month now. My wife has snuck out a few times to a local place to go throw some games here and there. I've been allowed to go do it. I just haven't had time work-wise because they have not been open for me to go after work, but during my work hours, I just couldn't go. But as it gets near, and if we're still on schedule to bowl, we will sneak our dates in and our times in to start working as a team. So we're waiting to hear everything like everyone else in the world, like what's happening.
So I want to ask about this year. No one has ever successfully defended a regular team title at the Open Championships. And the last time that you guys came to this tournament as a defending champion in team all events 3 years ago, you had 2 days to attempt to defend that title. This year, you're only going to have 1 day. You're going to have 15 total games amongst your group. So once day 1 is over, you will have either put up a number to potentially defend it, or you will have squandered that opportunity. So knowing the pressure going into it, knowing that it's never happened before, and knowing that you have 1 day to get it done, does that make you approach team event this year a little differently? Is it any added pressure, or do you just put that at the back of your mind and push forward?
Daniel, you just put the pressure all on us. No, we don't even think about that. Excuse me. Yeah, that hopefully when these guys watch it, like, no. I think we do our thing as we normally do it, like bowling any other tournament. It's kind of like when I bowl around bigger name bowlers. Everyone goes, "Are you nervous?" I mean, you bowl, and I've bowled for so long. You're going to do what you can do. You're bowling the lanes at that time, and doing what you can give, and hopefully making the one best shot at a time as you can. We'll put in the same. We'll put in the same amount of practice time as long as we know we're going or scheduled weekend. We'll put in our scheduled time to practice, and we'll be just as prepared as any other year for that. If we take it, our goal is actually, take the lead while we're out there. That would be great. That would be the first achievement.
Right.
And the second achievement would be is if we held on to win. No, I don't. I mean, sitting here, I'm not nervous or not thinking about anything like that. I still think about I still want to make sure I have my arsenal planned. Excuse me, and make sure we're all ready, and make sure that we're all comfortable. And it's usually just how it works. We're usually all pretty laid back. It's nice that we all, around each other. And, when we get out there, we'll bowl our side events. That's kind of what Loose is up to. We bowl all the side events first to get loose, get some games in. And then the team practice session is nice because even though the team practice session, I know some people say it plays the same, some don't. To me, it never plays the same. It just gives you the shape of a pattern. And that's basically what we see is the shape. And then we guesstimate on basically what we've watched prior to that, because while we're out there, we're going to go scope team first, then we bowl our side events, then we'll scope more team action, then we'll watch a little bit of doubles action. And then we bowl our team practice, we'll go, well, what I saw up there compared to what I'm seeing here. We'll ask each other, what do you think you see? Then we'll kind of prep our stuff by that. And then we take it.
Okay.
So it's not, to me, it'd be no different than not winning or ever winning. We'll just go out and take it the same way. So I wouldn't think of any pressure. It was just kind of like our state tournament. We won back-to-back years, excuse me, and we took the lead this year. Now that's on hold because they not bowled we always bowl the second week in state, and it's on hold. And here's the thing about state tournament this year. Chad was a fill-in for my wife last year because she was ill. So Chad put together his all-star team this year with Barta and a couple other local and Joe Bailey and some other local bowlers. And Chad's asking me every insight. And I said, Chad, I'm not supposed to give this information away. I want to win team event. And I go, but because it's you, I'm going to give you all the information. They missed us by 7 pins. So I gave him all the information he needed. He just came up a little short. So I was like, whew. So we'll see. But yeah, we put the same. I don't think we'll be nervous. We don't. It was kind of like when we fell short of defending the 1 year to team all events. We thought we were out of it because we didn't bowl good in team. And then after we bowled okay, after our double start off stone, we bowled okay. We're like, well, the shot is coming to us. Now we just got to make good shots, and maybe you never know. Maybe we'll take it over. And we didn't think we were going to take all events the night before over. And then when we started going, we're like, we got this. Adam texted you guys. He goes, you guys suck. Because he was watching our scores. He goes, nah. He goes, good luck. Just and Barta's way, you know how he gets, little prankster. But yeah, I don't see us being nervous. We're actually looking forward to it because that's just where it started. It's where we won our team all events. We want to go back and we want to defend both. To us, we feel like we win team all events there. That's actually like defending it because that's what we wanted at. And obviously, we're there for two things: team event and team all events. We feel like all the other stuff kind of like will fall into place. If we end up winning one of those or both those, usually something else is happening pretty good in between there.
Right.
So. Right. Now, it looks like obviously Reno has been a comfortable place for you guys, a fun place. And we're planning on going back. We are planning on this event happening. We'd like to see you guys get your awards and have a chance to defend that title. But now that you're going back to such a familiar city and a building, what are you most looking forward to about Reno? Where do you guys go to celebrate? You mentioned chemistry. A lot of that happens off the lanes as well. So what does Higgy's Aquarium do off the lanes to stay loose and relax? And what are some of the places in Reno maybe that you're looking forward to seeing again?
The first things we usually do is like we get there and we relax one day. Maybe play some blackjack. A few of us go down and set the blackjack table together, or maybe a pie gown table together. Get accustomed to the time change and all this, and then we'll go bowl some side events. And then that night we kind of hang out wherever it may be. Sometimes we eat at one of the El Dorado restaurants. Is where we usually hang out to have one of our dinners, our pre-dinners before we start all of our big bowling. And then if we win, we celebrated at the nice steakhouse in Silver Legacy, which was nice. Some other things we like to do there, we do like to walk east towards the river there. It's a nice little setup they have there now. Nice to visit. The other thing I found enjoyable for me was I took me and my wife the last time when I was coming to get these guys. Just as another breakup, there's a nice little outlet mall not too far off the scenes there. It's a nice little area. It's got a B-dub right there. So like little things there just to break up the monotonous of the casino and the bowling and just something, casual to do. I think think this year we'll probably walk that river walk because I've heard that's come a long way even more since I've been out there last. So I'm looking forward to that. That seems pretty neat to me, and I feel like a lot of those guys have missed that the last time out there. So I think we'll enjoy that more this year. We also we've done a Reno Aces game before, relaxed to that. So kind of where we're at, depending on timing, just depends what's going on. If it rains, we're not going to go to a ballpark, or we're not going to go to Riverwalk. We're going to sit inside one of the casino restaurants, have some dinner, socialize, play some cards or whatever. Hopefully the weather's nice when we get out there. At least June in Reno is probably not as bad as June in Vegas. The 1 year in Vegas, man, when we did fall, it was hot. I think it was 116 every day, and I think I had an issue with swelling really bad. I actually had to go get water pills to keep my fingers from like bloating as much as they were. So this last time to Vegas we went, I actually 2 weeks up to going out, I watched my salt intake before I left.
Mm-hmm.
Eat any salt or really low sodium while I was out there to prevent that, because that June, when you're not accustomed to being out there in that heat like that on a routine basis, man, you've loaded up with sodium before that, it's going to show you. It's going to show you in a hurry out there.
Well, now,
Yeah, I was going to say, talking about hand swelling, I learned at a young age. I went to bowl state tournament in Owensboro, Kentucky, and the night before we bowled, we all jumped in the pool, not realizing what that would do to our hands, the swelling. And we had to go up an extra grip and a half, size and a half on my grips. And Dad worked out my thumb hole till the slug was about gone, touching the edge of the ball, so I could fit my hand in my ball. So I've learned about things you should and shouldn't do the night before you bowl a big tournament.
Yeah, I was nervous in Vegas 2 years ago. I told Chad, I was like, man, my hand is just not going down, and I don't use grips. So I usually use a couple pieces of finger tape in my finger holes. And it was funny because the year that we did win team all events, we had our dinner before at the Italian restaurant in El Dorado there, and I had excuse me, I'm a big spaghetti eater, so I had spaghetti, and that meat sauce must have been loaded with sodium, because the next day I got up and bowled. My hand felt fine, but I wasn't clearing the ball in doubles very well. And I still tell Chad, I said, even though we were close, I was like, that first game in doubles, man, I kept getting over the top of, like, I don't know why my fingers aren't coming out of the ball. Well, and eventually I ended up taking all the tape out of 4 of my bowling balls I had on the rack. I took the finger tape out of every one of them, and my execution went to 100% after that. I looked at him, I'm like, sorry, man. I was like, I didn't realize I was that swollen. I was like, I will never eat like that again the night before we bowl. And so that was the other thing I learned. It worked out. We bowled okay. Came a few pins short of doubles, but we did what we needed to do that year, team all event. I was like, man, I think we celebrated with dinner that night because we finished second team all event. We gave it a run. This is what, we're gonna give it a run. Wow. So it's the little things like that you learn that it's hard to teach people, like, because some bowlers go out, like, oh, I just can't get off my hand, and they don't realize why they can't get it off their hand. These are the little things you have to pick up, like, this is why you didn't get it off your hand. So hard to teach those little things, but yeah, we're really looking forward to it. I know the boys are really looking forward to it. Josh just take off some time. He's ready to get back to bowling. He just bought a house. Chad's getting bored. He said he actually misses bowling. And he kind of gets on his things where, excuse me, he misses it, he doesn't miss it, and then he's like, he's really missing it now. Chuck's saying that, the center is being closed, so he doesn't, it feels weird to him. And Chuck's a big boater, so he's just hoping, like, the pandemic goes around, he can still get his boat out on the water. So we'll see. I know Joe, and I know Joe's itching to bowl. Joe's like, I just started bowling good in this. Now we're not bowling, just like you, Dan. He's like,
yeah, right.
Stop. So, yeah, I know how that is. Once you get bowling good, you never want to stop bowling.
Before we wrap up today, Dan, you said all the right things today as far as the Open Championships experience, being a captain, the vacation part of it, the camaraderie, the chemistry, the hard work, the teamwork. It's really the whole gamut. But you finally got that opportunity to hold that eagle. It was presented to you first time and then a second time. Being the longtime bowler you are, understanding the prestige of the event, and now your role in it. What did it mean to you to finally, I think maybe that's the moment it became real, maybe not, to actually hold that bird. Just talk about the winning experience and when it all finally clicked for you.
The first one was really surreal because it was like, hey, I finally did it. Like I knew getting Chad and getting these bowlers that going to have a chance, and bowling with El Paso. And then the following year we put it together and we won an eagle. Now we're like, well, now we're hungry. Now we want more. Holding that first eagle was fun. We got extra celebration from our local association, so that was kind of cool. This last eagle we won was even more satisfying because we got the one we didn't get yet. We got that team event because we feel like, being second twice there was like, man, we really would like to get that one. And we got it. And Chucky not having an eagle, he was really impressed on. Chucky wasn't sure, like he thought we were just feeding him a line of bull, how we prepared to get ready and everything. He's like, really? All that, he's kind of, you could just, and then he's like, afterwards, he's like, Higgy, you're right. I believe in the system. On what we did, so that kind of felt good from a veteran type bowler like that. That's very experienced to say, hey, what you guys are doing, I do see how it works. Because there's not a lot of people that see how it works. They ask how it works, and you don't want to give away all your secrets. But you kind of tell them, the biggest thing I can tell you is chemistry and unselfishness. But yeah, holding the Eagles were great. This last go around, we got a little bit more, even more notoriety for winning the team event, which was nice all the way around. We still want to do more because we enjoy it. We'd like to have a couple more. We'd love to win one in each category. That would be nice. Hard work, but that'd be nice. The big one that me and Chad would like would be doubles as much as we bowl together. Every year I go to states, I don't bowl with my wife in doubles. She bowls with Trisha, and I bowl with an unnamed bowler. I do one friend I bowl. I kind of hope he bowls well, but I kind of give my doubles up for states. But Jen's like, hey, if we bowl states, we would have won together twice. Now that'd be cool too, husband wife winning. I told her, I said, like the Padillas now, I said that'd been fun. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a neat one. I was like, when you have a husband and wife winning an eagle like that. But it would kind of be the same way. Chad's like my wife on tour, or a wife on the travel like that. So pull one off, that'd be great. He'll tell you the same thing. In fact, I don't know if you guys know this. Well, I'm sure you probably know by social media. Chad got married not too long ago. So yeah, so he, I always ask his wife. I'm like, hey, it's my weekend. So it's kind of fun and games we have. So it's good. Like I said, it's good all the way around. Chemistry all around with all of us. It's priceless. I don't know how to explain it. I've been very fortunate to meet these guys. Like Josh and Chad are the same age. Joe's my wife's age. So we've all grown up at some point bowling with like great bowlers and each other. So the thing about Josh though is like when I finished up, a lot of people don't know, as I finished up my junior career, I went adult at 19. Josh was bowling the Bantams, the same center.
Oh, wow.
My dad were coaches. Well, when I went adult at 19, I actually became then was a YABA certification coach, and I coached the junior leagues for a while there. So I coached him and some other bowlers for a little while. So it's kind of weird to see that go full circle. And now he's one of my aces on my team that, I'm like, man, he bowls great. So for me to see that, it feels like a good achievement too, like watching somebody grow up to something like that like, hey, it's kind of cool.
All right, well, Dan, we certainly appreciate all you do and this great look inside Higgy's Aquarium. Farish, any final thoughts or questions before we call it a day?
No, I'm looking forward to seeing a team defend the title for the first time in history this year.
I'm hoping we do. That's our goal. That would be fun. That would make a nice little story.
Absolutely, I'd look forward to writing that story.
Yeah, that would be great.
I look forward to editing that story as well.
I'll tell my bowlers that.
All right, folks. Well, we appreciate you tuning in once again for Inside the OC with Matt Cannizzaro and Daniel Farish, Dan Higgins. Thank you so much for joining us today, folks. That is the news for now. We'll see you on the lane.